All right, let's talk about roads, but forget the six-lane superhighways for a minute. Today, we're diving into something way more critical for millions of people, the humble rural road. And it turns out there's a real hidden genius to building them the right way, especially when you're working with, let's be honest, not a lot of money or materials. To really get why this is so important, just think about what happens when one of these roads fails. For a subsistence farmer, a washed-out road isn't just a little detour. Nope, it's a total catastrophe. It can literally wipe out their entire income for the season. The stakes just couldn't be any higher. But on the flip side, when these roads actually work, wow, they are nothing short of a lifeline. We're talking about connecting farmers to markets, getting sick people to clinics, especially during the wet season when things get really bad, and making sure kids can get to school. They're the arteries that keep a community alive. So that brings us to the big, thorny problem, right? How in the world do you build and maintain these absolutely essential lifelines when you don't have a lot of cash and the weather is doing everything it can to tear them apart? Well, the go-to answer, the one everyone jumps to, has always been gravel. I mean, it seems cheap, it seems simple, just spread some rocks around and boom, you've got a road. But here's the catch. It's often just a temporary fix with a massive hidden cost that a lot of communities just can't afford in the long run. And that number you're seeing, that's the hidden cost. We're talking up to $2,650 per kilometer every single year just to maintain it and keep dumping more gravel on it. For places with tight budgets, that is an absolutely unsustainable drain. It's an investment that literally washes away with the next big rain. Okay, so if gravel isn't the long-term answer, then what is? Well, this is where things get really interesting. It requires a fundamental shift in how we even think about building a road. It's all about getting smarter, not just throwing more money at the problem. And this slide right here perfectly captures that shift. The old way? Super rigid, a one-size-fits-all rulebook based on how many cars drive by. But the new thinking? It's so much more intelligent. It's flexible. It asks the right questions. What's the real traffic load? What's the local environment like? And, this is the big one, what materials do we have right here? It's all about matching the solution to the specific problem. Now, what I love about this chart is how it shows you what that new philosophy looks like in practice. See the overlap? That's the key. An engineered earth road might be perfect for up to 100 vehicles a day. A low-volume paved road could handle anywhere from 50 up to 250. It's not about these hard, rigid cutoffs anymore. It's about a whole spectrum of smart technology. So this new way of thinking opens up what I like to call an engineer's recipe book. Instead of just two choices, dirt or asphalt, engineers suddenly have this whole toolbox, this whole menu of creative, low-cost solutions they can use. And the principle, the secret ingredient behind every single recipe in this book is the same. Be innovative. Use what you have. That means local materials, local labor, and clever designs that are smart enough to work with the environment, not constantly fight against it. This is where the real genius is. Okay, let's check out our first recipe. Hand-packed stone. Seriously, this is almost an art form. You're not just dumping rocks. You're meticulously fitting large stones together like a puzzle, then using hammers to ram smaller chips and sand into every single gap, locking the whole thing into an incredibly tough, interlocking surface. Or how about this one? Telford paving. This technique is over 200 years old, invented by a Scottish engineer named Thomas Telford. It's just an amazing testament to great engineering that this method, hand placing a foundation of big stones, is still a perfectly good, low-cost solution today. Talk about an idea with staying power. Now, let's jump to something a bit more modern sounding, the bituminous chip seal. The easiest way to think about this is like a waterproof raincoat for the road. You spray a thin layer of a sticky binder, immediately cover it with stone chips, and roll them in. That simple seal protects the road's foundation from water, which, believe me, is the #1 enemy of any road. And then you've got the Otta seal, which is a particularly tough and forgiving option. For this one, you use a mix of different sized gravel and a thick binder. The magic happens when you roll it. The pressure actually squeezes that sticky binder up from the bottom, locking everything together. It's perfect for places where you don't have perfectly sorted materials on hand. So, we've got this amazing recipe book full of options. Now, let's see how these principles actually play out in the real world. For that, we're going to look at the incredible herringbone brick roads of Bangladesh. So what do you do when you're in a place that just doesn't have any natural rock or gravel to crush? You look around. And in huge parts of Bangladesh, the most abundant, durable, and locally made material isn't stone. It's the simple, fired clay brick. And the construction process is just beautifully straightforward. First, you get the ground ready and compact it down. Then you lay a flat foundation of bricks. On top of that goes a cushion of sand. And finally, you place the top layer of bricks on their edges in that super strong interlocking herringbone pattern. Brush some sand in the cracks, and you've got yourself a road. Let's geek out for a second and look at the anatomy of this road. You can see how all the layers work together. The sand cushions give it some flex, the flat base layer of bricks gives it strength, and that tough herringbone surface is what handles all the traffic. It's a complete, robust system built from the simplest local materials. But wait, here comes the really, really clever part. The brick road isn't the end of the story. It's just one step in a brilliant long-term strategy. It gives people an all-weather road for years. Then, down the line, when traffic grows and more money is available, they can actually lift the bricks, crush them up, and use them as the base for a future paved road. Absolutely nothing is wasted. It's genius. Okay, so let's pull back and wrap this all up. What's the big picture here? What are the main takeaways from this smarter approach to paving the way for rural communities? So, what are the key principles we've really learned today? Well, first, there's a whole menu of solutions, not just one or two. Second, flexibility is everything. You've got to adapt. The idea of building in phases and learning from local practices is just incredibly powerful. And finally, sometimes the best option is right under your feet, just improving the soil you already have. So really, the ultimate point is this. The answer to getting better roads to more people isn't always about bigger budgets or more asphalt. It's about smarter, more adaptable engineering. Engineering that uses local knowledge and local materials to empower communities with the lasting roads they actually need. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? We've just seen how simple bricks and stones can be engineered into incredible, long-lasting roads. So what low-cost innovations, what overlooked local materials are hiding in plain sight in your community, just waiting for a smart new application? Something to think about.